Hi, my name is Jeyda Elsässer, and I'd like to thank YouAccel for inviting me to share my insights with fellow students throughout this course. I've always been quite passionate about my work, and it's a pleasure to share my experiences with others who may be pursuing similar career goals. Freelancing came to me as a natural decision to be able to travel and work abroad. I wanted to be my own boss, and I wanted to work on creative projects that attracted me most at the time. So I basically learned and taught myself web design, and from that I was able to work on clients' projects, whether they were in New York or Australia, all the while I was traveling in Europe. I've always been a creative thinker, and I've always wanted to work on things that inspire me most. I wanted to feel immersed in them, passionate about them on a daily basis, wake up and just want to focus on them all day long. Not even think of them as work, but think of them as my lifestyle. And I guess you could say that freelancing just happened to be a natural solution to my career choices at that time. I decided to go traveling, and I wanted to live and work abroad full-time, long-term. What I didn't know was what kind of work was waiting for me on the other side of the ocean. So as I kind of set out on my journey, I figured it might be a good idea to maybe keep myself busy and learn a new skill that I could apply into an area that I was interested in, web design. So while I kind of set out on this journey, I also taught myself web and branding, online things that I could apply to projects. And that is how I basically became a freelancer. I wanted to keep that up so that I could travel and not be kind of, I guess, stuck to a location, because I had a massive curiosity to discover many, many different places within Europe. And I loved the fact that I could work with people from all over the world through my computer, as long as there was Wi-Fi, which I actually ended up doing while I was in Europe. My two first clients were ones in New York and in Australia. And it was quite interesting with all the time differences, but through a lot of practice and scheduling, made it work. I also like working from home. I love that flexibility and that ability to choose what days you would like to work from where. Not all the time. Sometimes I like co-working spaces, or I like changing up the scenery a little bit, but I do like the ability to work from home, which is a nice, comfortable, cozy space. It's your creative space, and you can pretty much focus and concentrate the way you'd like. So it's wonderful. And I love working on a variety of projects with people of all walks of life from all over the world, which broadens my horizons and expands my skill sets immensely. I love doing the things I love. So when I'm not working, I will focus on the things that bring me the most joy, that inspire me, and that stimulate my mind, my body, my soul on many, many levels. I will read up on things in the art world. I will read up on things in music, cultural things. I will go out for walks so that I can get some fresh air and rest my mind. And it's a great refresher, walks. And sometimes I'll do more sporty activities like sailing, squash, tennis, stand-up paddleboarding. Those kinds of things just give your mind, body, and soul a nice breather from work, because sometimes work can be demanding and it can put stress on you. And when you get that break, you just feel even better. So those are my hobbies. And being active is great. It helps me focus better. I also love spending time with friends and family and surrounding myself with creativity. A part of me always wishes, or wished actually, that I could have been like those people who knew exactly what they wanted to do at the age of 4, for example, and then pursued that all throughout their educational and later on professional careers and are doing it in their adulthood. However, things worked out a bit differently for me. I have always profoundly loved art. Yet that is quite a controversial topic in general. A lot of people will tell you that it is not a viable career to pursue, and oftentimes will steer you towards things that guarantee job security upon graduating. That would be my case. I wanted to draw and paint every day, but I guess once I graduated high school, I put that aside as a secondary activity and focused my energy towards my studies, which was an undergraduate program called Radio and Television Arts at Ryerson University. That would then hopefully lead me in some sort of a career in the film or communication and design industries, which it did. But years after graduating and working in those industries, I had this emptiness feeling in me and a restlessness, as if something was not right. It just wasn't fulfilling not all my needs, but my happiness and perhaps my own purpose. So what I tried to do was figure that out. And I basically come up with the solution, which was to work in art, but apply the skills and experiences that I had accumulated from all my years in schooling and after graduating and work to the art industry, which came in the form of freelancing, so that I could be more creative and express more of my creativity in my work, pick and choose projects that I wanted to work on, pick and choose the clients that I wanted to focus and work on or work with, and later on led me to develop myself as a corporate art consultant, which is not website branding. It is something completely different, and I work more with physical fine art and placing them in certain environments like condos or restaurants or those kinds of settings. It's honestly almost inevitable. Our shift in mentality, along with the current and future improving technologies, are supporting more and more a career in freelancing. And it's becoming an ingrained part of our life. It allows you, if you are a creative person, to exercise those skills more freely It also offers independence, autonomy, exploration. I mean, you can either work from home or you can work from anywhere in the world as long as there's Wi-Fi. And you don't need to depend on investing a lot of your money in brick and mortar to get exposure and to be successful. So that cuts back on a lot of costs that you might have otherwise had. Freelancing is a popular choice among many millennials because it offers autonomy, greater creative expression, independence, possible infinite financial accumulation as well. I mean, I don't know why anyone, not only millennials, wouldn't want to gravitate towards freelancing and give it a go. Someone who is absolutely technologically inclined as well would benefit from this lifestyle. Someone who likes the freedom of being able to work from home or while traveling would very much enjoy a career in freelancing. Having a boss is optional. Being your own boss is optional. You can work solo or with a partner or in a team. And all these things are personal choices that you can make and kind of choose or select based on what works best for yourself and for your business. And you can basically develop a career based on what you like best. There are pluses and minuses to almost every style of work. As a freelancer, to grow successfully, some of the things I'd recommend are to maintain self-motivation, to set and stick to a routine, to wake up at a timely hour, to focus on your work, and to deliver on time. Working for a company means that you have a bit more security financially. There's a bit more stability. You kind of know what to expect on a day-to-day basis. You clock in, you clock out. You mostly get to focus on the work that you need to do when you're at work, and then beyond that, you can switch it up and focus on your personal life. There isn't as much overlap. When you're freelancing, that's sometimes where you feel like your job is your life. So you've got to be very good at making that distinction and carving out healthy boundaries for you where you are able to turn off your work and do something that isn't related to it. As well, when you are working for a big company, things like the work environment, the type of people who are working with you, your boss, things that you don't necessarily choose may end up being important factors in how you feel in your workplace. And you want to feel good. Sometimes it can be toxic, and there can be a stuck feeling if you are very reliant on your job. The way you get paid is also different when working for a company. When working for a company, you're most likely an employee. And in that case, you would get paid in pay stubs or paychecks with deductions already made. And then when it comes time to doing your taxes, you might get a certain paper that you submit and it's basically done. So all those things are slightly different from how a freelancer operates in terms of how they invoice their clients, whether they add the HST or not, and then deduct it when they do their taxes. And then also the way that they do their taxes is a lot more intricate because they get to write certain things off. So you have to keep a lot of the receipts and make sure that you record them accurately and that you are quite organized in that sense. Working for a company, there's a lot more routine as well. So that provides a sense of known, right? When you are a freelancer, there is a certain level of unknown and uncertainty about how or what the future will bring and how you will be in a month's time even. So that might attract a certain type of personality. If you are the kind of person who really thrives off of a routine and the known and actually becomes more creative with that sense of security, then perhaps working for a company would be in your favor. And if you don't mind working in a team, having a designated office, commuting to that office on a daily basis and being there on time and leaving at a certain time, then that might be for you. If you are someone who has a bit of, that sense of adventure and is a bit more of a risk taker, does not mind at all venturing into the unknown, and is a wonderful, actually, I'd say, creative problem solver. You've got to be very quick on your feet if you want to move ahead. And it all comes down to you, basically, at the end of the day. So if you're that kind of a person, then freelancing might be more suited to you. Sometimes, as a freelancer, you may experience certain highs and lows. It can be financial highs and lows, or it could be your motivation, your inner strength, kind of needing to pull through when you're doubting or questioning. So as long as you maintain a balance or a way to sort of have enough savings, things that you would keep paraded to support you if you are going through a low, or to have a buddy who will say, don't give up, you can push through this, difficult obstacle that you're facing, then it's very helpful in the long run. Some of the benefits of working as a freelancer are that you get to really focus on the types of projects you'd like to do and try to work with the clients that you'd like to collaborate with. And you get to pick your own hours, more or less, work from anywhere in the world, work from home. You get to steer your company based on your interests and implement things where you see fit, collaborate with other professionals who are in line with your project when you need. So you can have a lot of fun with it, and you can choose certain things based on your own rhythm. What might be a challenge is that there isn't always this certainty of how much you'll make, when you'll make, and whether your clients will follow through with these payments. Then as well, another challenge is that you've got to really find a way to consistently put yourself out there so that you keep attracting the types of clients and projects that you really want to work on. And you keep that cash flow coming to you, and you keep building your own freelancing portfolio and your business over time. These are, basic survival skills. You have to have creative problem-solving skills because you're going into the unknown and you're taking a few risks. But I believe that once you get the hang of it and you pull through and you keep finding creative solutions and apply them to your business as a freelancer, you eventually come to a place where you feel quite confident and you are able to stably make some income because you didn't give up. One of the best ways when you're starting out as a freelancer is to share that news and your business idea with your friends and your family. Let them know that you don't have things for your portfolio yet and you are looking to work with people who are in line with your business and who might benefit from the services that you're looking for them to work with so that you can get started. When I started out, I approached an acquaintance that I knew, and I knew she also needed a website revamp. I actually didn't wait for her to come to me. I pitched it to her, and I let her know that I would like to work on it, and with no strings attached. She was not committed to anything, and she didn't need to pay me for it. There are many platforms available today for freelancers to publish about themselves and their services and their portfolio online to attract a wider audience, like Fiverr and like Upwork, for example. I'd highly suggest or recommend doing a Google search as well to see what comes up. Then another way is to sort of share your services again with your friends and your family, and do a word of mouth kind of marketing. That way, you never know, but you could get a really trusted source or a trusted future client who works with you in the long run. As well, creating your own personal website is a phenomenal tool. Not only does it look very professional, but you can basically lay it out and write whatever you'd like on there, and then you can even take it a step further and work on the SEO, which is search engine optimization, so that you rank in Google when other people are looking for the service that they could apply to their project, or you can market it on different platforms, etc. But it really does sort of solidify your image as a professional freelancer and business person with the public. And then social media. Instagram and Facebook are definitely go-to platforms that you can utilize in your favor. You can post whatever you like pertaining to your business on there, and you can even use their ads to focus into those niches and find the prospect clients that you're looking for. And you can really build a solid client base that feel trusting with you because they feel like they're interacting with you or with your business in a more friendly, social way, and build it from there. I've always had a tremendous passion for art, which has followed me throughout my entire life. Everywhere I go, art. I think about it on a daily basis. So, I had to figure it out career-wise eventually. I mean, from starting out painting as a kid and remembering how focused I was while painting and how really the rest of the world would just disappear. Brought me into a state of creative flow, and it gave me tremendous joy as well to work on art, to be surrounded by art, to talk and think about art. I'd even sometimes surpass some of my high school teachers in art class. They wouldn't know what to do. They'd set me aside and say, "We can't give you 110%, we're sorry." And it's not like I was looking for those marks. I just felt so much love, literally, like a feeling, a warming sensation would come over me, and it would be centered around my heart. So you get to a certain point where you recognize it as something, and it's that special spark in your life. As well, art can be seen in absolutely everything. If you think about it, you'll know what I mean. There are degrees of art in anything from web design to painting. Eventually, you come to recognize that those are signs of what bring you the most joy. And when you make that your career, believe me, it's magic. You can see art in practically almost everything. And there are degrees of art in especially web design, along with art consulting, which is a no-brainer. But even business people and artists go hand in hand. They need each other to move forward. An art person needs to have great business skills if they'd like to be successful, and a business person relies on an artist to bring that spark to their brand. The painter Claude Monet has always been my greatest source of inspiration. From the time that my mom purchased my first Monet book called Linnea in Monet's Garden at the age of 6. I had fallen in love with his artwork, but also his way of life inspired me. He created from the ground up the way he lives, the way his garden looks, all of his masterpieces that he based off of his garden and his wonderful lily ponds. And then when you get the chance to ever visit his home in France, you see walking through the home how everything was almost before its time, even in the interior decorating. It was just full of life and full of color, and he absolutely is a source of inspiration for me and will continue to be for the rest of my life. It's always good to think about the end user, the client who you're dealing with. What experience are you giving them at the end of the day? Because at the end of the day, a successful business is one that your clients enjoy. When they enjoy working with you, they will come back and they will also recommend you to other people. So that almost does half your marketing work, which is there. Being professional is key in anything you do, and making sure that you have clever services tailored to your clients' needs, competitive costs and pricing, that you lay all the details out very clearly in writing and also verbally when speaking to the client, that you follow up in writing if you ever have meetings so that there's a record of what is said, and that all of your estimates, proposals, budgets, and invoices clearly state what a service costs, when it should be paid, how much is overtime, and how much are revisions. Going into a project with all that laid out clearly from the get-go will save you quite a bit of headache. And don't give up. Don't ever give up. If you do, that's when you lose momentum. You've got to keep at it, making it stronger, being passionate about it. Those qualities will make you stand up and very successful as a freelancer. I was mostly able to travel on my own terms while I worked on various web branding and design projects while living in Europe. I was mostly able to travel on my own terms and go on trips to places that I wanted to experience, while being able to work on the various web design and branding projects with my clients from all over the world. best way to balance work and personal life, especially while starting out, is to make sure you stay organized. Key things are maybe writing a to-do list that you plan the day in advance so that you wake up the next day knowing exactly what you need to get done and check those things off as you go through them. Another great way is to make sure you wake up at a decent time. Make sure you wake up at a decent time and that you take regular breaks throughout the day, and then you go to bed at a reasonable time as well. I would characterize myself as both introverted and extroverted. I guess I have shared qualities from each one. Sometimes I'm more extroverted and go out, socialize, network, and other times I'll feel a little bit more introverted and want to work from home, want to really create my own space and be in my zone. I'm a balance between the two, I guess. But I truly believe that no matter which one you are, you can still attract business to you. Your personality is reflected in the work that you do, and in real life, if you attract certain people, so will your business. Your business at the end of the day is kind of a personality that you are creating. You can also keep tailoring your business to attract the types of projects that you want to work on until you're happy with them. Business creation is developing and ever in motion, and it is evolving and transforming. So you can kind of initiate those things in the direction that you'd like to take based on as well how you're feeling. I believe that both introverts and extroverts have their merits, and both can be successful in their own way. Making sure that at the end of the day, no matter what you do, you are clearly communicating your core business values to your prospect clients and to your demographic is what I think is most important. If you ever feel very lonely or isolated while working as a freelancer and while working for yourself, a great way to sort of get out of that feeling is to call your friends and your family. See what they're up to. Maybe go for a catch-up or a coffee and talk about something unrelated to work. Another way is to be involved in activities, whether they're team sports or some sort of a games night with friends, whatever kind of makes you happy, and be in touch with other people or make new acquaintances. Do those things. If it means that you'd like to go take a break from work and check out a gallery or head to a networking meetup where you can meet new people and learn from them and exchange business contacts and, create a new collaboration. That's always great too. Or if you like to work from home and know of a friend who is also a freelancer and your space allows for it, you can always invite them over and you can create kind of like this cute and cozy co-working space from your own place. As long as it feels professional and it offers those outlets that you and your friends can sort of work with to keep your business going, then you should be fine. It's definitely good to take breaks when you can and to go outside and to nourish your mind, body, and soul in ways that you prefer. Write a list of the things that you want to do, maybe focus on a few of them and do them that week, and find a way to, if you're really feeling stuck, confide in your friends and family and see how you can all kind of bring your minds together to find a solution that works for you best. Write out a list of things you like to do and research jobs that you could do using those skills. Research other professionals that are doing the dream job that you would like to do. Write out how much you'd like to earn and see what services you can offer to reach those targets. Figure out if you can do everything on your own as a freelancer, or if some projects may require a sort of a team of freelancers. Also, asking friends and family about what they envision would be great for you is a wonderful way to sort of hear a different opinion or a different side that you can incorporate into your business. Sometimes they have ideas that you may not have thought about, or sometimes they bring things up that get you thinking. So it's always good to sort of share with at least 5 people that you trust what you're thinking of doing, and see what they say, and see what you might pull from that and apply. In my opinion, employers should not see freelancing as a gap in one's resume at all. Freelancing is a hard career. It is a respectable one as well, and sometimes can be even more difficult than working for a big company because you have more responsibilities, you are your own boss, and you're pulling a lot more weight to ensure the success of how things go. So employers should really see it as a plus, and that candidate is well-rounded, has a lot of skills to offer, has experienced work from the ground up maybe, from many different angles, and has a lot to offer. The best way to know when is the best time to make a move into freelancing is basically listening to your heart. You got to listen to yourself and see what you're telling yourself. What is your heart telling you? Making your choice based on that, along with your intuition, along with your mind. Once all those aspects resonate and align, you'll know it's the right time. Like you'll know when you know when you know. There isn't a quiz. There isn't an algorithm that will tell you. You've got to be able to listen to yourself. And then usually it's the right time. First, wipe out any fears of the unknown you may have. Then, perhaps you want to do some writing and research about the type of freelancing role you are interested in pursuing. Maybe setting aside some finances so that you can have a buffer once you venture into the freelancing world would be more reassuring overall, especially. That way, in case it takes a bit of time to build up, at least you can fall back on that financial support. Maybe setting some savings aside would be a good idea so that you can have that cushion in case you need it. And creating a really strong support system of friends and family who know that you are about to embark in freelancing, so that they could be there when you need, to offer that moral support along the way. Just go for it. I make sure I get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. And then in the morning, I try to wake up around 7 or 8 a.m. I feel that's a good time in the morning that is early enough so that I can prep myself and do what I feel like doing, like enjoying my breakfast or getting a morning meditation in and getting ready for the day, and then starting work around 9 a.m. I've been able to see and spend time with my family more as a freelancer, I'd have to say, because I don't have to go to an office every day, and my hours are a bit more flexible, so I can go and visit my family when I feel like, which is great. I mean, the times when I'm traveling, of course, I'll be abroad, but I really do love the flexibility of scheduling that I can apply to my life. Yes, I have had to turn down some clients before, and that was simply because they would approach me to work on a web-related project, but the services I offered weren't the type of work that they were looking to get done. So in those cases, I would simply let them know, and if they needed, I would steer them in the right direction, what kind of professional that they should be working with. I don't believe I've ever had a client that I've started working with that I had to turn down. And the best way to avoid those kinds of situations is to really get as much information about your client and what they're looking for up front, so that you know before you commit to anything whether you will be able to do it and deliver. That is quite important, and it relieves you a lot of stress in the long run. As a freelancer, it's important to stay up to date with relevant news, especially things that apply to your business. Staying up to date with the trends, seeing how to advance yourself and your services are important in being and staying competitive in the industry. Also, channeling your own creative thinking skills while listening to your intuition is important. Not everything out in the news or that you will read will pertain to your own business. So using your mind and feeling and just navigating that could lead you in unique directions that allow you to pave your own way and stand out in the business. Marketing can be quite a challenging aspect of any business. Not only is it a completely different beast altogether, but you've got to be versed in the technology behind it and how it works. And then if you really want to stay on top of it, you've got to track it somehow and know, is what I just put out there as a marketing or ad campaign actually attracting the types of clients that I'm looking for? So a lot of times freelancers may save up for any marketing campaigns that they want to do and even hire an expert in marketing to do it for them so that they can focus on their work, because it is important to do for your business, but it does take up quite a chunk of time and money. Marketing can be expensive. You can always go another more inexpensive route by turning your own free social media profile into one that generates a buzz without having to pay for campaigns, or having a blog. That really depends if it's going to work in your favor, because again, it's a lot of work, and you want to make a business out of something where you don't have to put so much out there and then get a tiny bit back. You really want to balance that out. So maybe speaking to some marketing experts and finding out if you can do it yourself, or if you need to hire someone, pay someone, that might be best. Social media is a great platform to use and can definitely go in your favor if you do it right. Again, think about how your client is perceiving what you put out there, and that will help you kind of generate a lot more leads. But platforms like Instagram and Facebook are wonderful to use, and there are tons more out there that you can research, figure out what you're comfortable with, and if you want to be on all of them but you don't have that much time, Can you hire another freelancer or professional to do it for you? Those types of questions are ones that you can ask yourself, but being on social media is definitely a plus. I have had difficult clients in the past. Sometimes you don't even suspect it going in. Sometimes they turn out to be wonderful in that initial consultation meeting, and then once the project starts, they are very demanding and they request of you several revisions, and then they, create an issue if they ever have to pay for them, even though it's already set out in writing. So those problem clients, you've got to deal with them very professionally and figure out if you can actually move forward with them and find a solution, or if you've got to let them go. A good way to sort of make sure that you are backed up and supported in your decisions is to have everything in writing. So even if you have a meeting with them over the phone, follow up with writing or in writing. Just to have that kind of proof is always going to work in your favor. And if you've got to let them go, doing it in a way that is professional and democratic is always in your favor. So you want that client to understand that there were certain differences there that could not be resolved. And at the end of the day, you both tried and it didn't work. It's okay. And if they need contacts to another professional that can help them out, maybe you supply them with that information. But you want to leave feeling good about yourself and proud that you handled it professionally. I definitely recommend using platforms like Fiverr and Upwork. I myself have used Fiverr, and it has given me wonderful clients and projects to work on that I'm very, very grateful for, because these people come from all over the world and they're not just in your local community. So you get to kind of test your skills and work on various projects and work with people from around the world of all walks of life, and it's great. I'd research the platforms before signing up for them and see which ones apply to you and your business best, but I would definitely recommend being present on them for sure. It brings you leads, there's a lot of traffic, and there are several people using them, and you basically don't even have to pay for any marketing or advertising because it's all there. You'll see what I'm talking about when you go and use it. My personal experience has been putting money aside and using my savings when I needed to, but there are many, many programs in place and government-run organizations that have funding for freelancers and creative people that they could use towards their career or their startups or projects, etc. You can even go to the bank and see if you qualify for a loan if you'd like, and you can even create online campaigns to raise funding for whatever project you're working on. Working long hours tirelessly doesn't always mean success. It is the quality of the work that is most important. And sometimes you don't need to put oodles of hours into it. Being able to focus on a task and get the job done in an hour, for example, as opposed to 10 hours is more rewarding. And then that also allows you to have more of a balance between work and personal things. This is a healthy approach, in my opinion. And when you are able to make that difference between work and personal life, and you give yourself a break, that allows you to then concentrate more thoroughly on the task at hand and get it done, as opposed to letting it just kind of procrastinate and linger. So the quality of work that you put in to the project at hand is important, and if you can get it done quickly, then even better. So you don't need to feel like you are dragging yourself through it and working endlessly and exhausted from the work that you do. As long as it is a great product at the end of the day and your client is happy, you got it made. Financial acumen is relative. I mean, it all depends on the type of lifestyle you need and how much money you want to make to support it. However, it's always very important for anyone and any freelancer to know their own worth and to charge accordingly. You do not want to undersell yourself or undercharge, because then you'll end up feeling very frustrated. So find a way to sort of calculate what reflects your business best while staying competitive, because then you will always feel very confident knowing that you will provide a great service at a great rate, and you'll feel good about the money that you make. Keeping a basic expense sheet updated on a daily or regular basis is always a good thing to have on hand. You know, you can go as detailed as you'd like, but keeping that up to date will always be your best friend and will always make your life easier, especially when it comes time to doing your taxes. Practicing keeping up to date with your finances is a good routine to get into. The more you do it, the more easy it'll get, and the better you will be at it, and the more organized you'll be, and the less headache you'll have in the long run, believe me. Maybe even approaching some financial institutions or experts where you can learn about tools and skills that you can apply to being on top of your finances would be great. You are, at the end of the day, a freelancer running your own business, and these, tools will be very, very helpful in your success as a business in the long run. So making a habit of them, like a good habit of them, not over spending hours doing them and feeling exhausted by them, but having a healthy relationship with them is always very beneficial. And one of the best ways to find out how to charge for a service or what rate to give is to start out by researching other professionals and what services they're offering and how much they're charging. That is great. And then when you have enough information, you can kind of make your own judgment call and see what you feel is most comfortable for yourself. But remember, don't undersell yourself or overcharge. You want to feel comfortable, and you want as well to attract the right clients. But when you undersell yourself, it will lead you to feeling frustrated, and it may also lead you to attracting the types of clients that you don't want to work with. So you've got to go in having some research and information and some details on hand first, and then making that decision based off of, maybe you round off a number, or you calculate the average of what other professionals are charging that are doing similar professions, and going from there. Always make sure that on any of your estimates, your budget proposals, your invoices, you have written down in print and in writing before you start the project how you wish to get paid. Some freelancers will put that they will get 100% pay once the project is completed within 30 days of that completion date. And other freelancers may put that they get 50% upfront and 50% once the project is completed. So it's all up to you. If you ever run into a client that doesn't pay, then that 50% upfront, 50% later is always a great way to sort of gauge their dedication or commitment to their project and to investing in it. if you ever run into a client that doesn't pay, even though it has come to the point where you are asking for the money and you've sent them the invoice, then you can start by sending them friendly email reminders so that it is in writing and it is on your records. And if they really do not get back to you with payment, maybe you can ask what the reason is and come up with a better payment plan. And if that still doesn't work, then your best bet might be seeking some legal counsel that could assist you in that resolution. Taking breaks throughout the day and actually enjoying them are key. They are a time of refreshing and they will allow you to focus better on the task at hand or the deadline that you have. I know it sounds very simple and like basic knowledge, but some people often forget to do that. So do that favor to yourself, take a break. Writing a list of all your goals and all the things that you'd like to achieve and accomplish, making that list as long as you like it to be, and then reviewing it and maybe selecting the top 10 and then 5 and then 3 is a great way to kind of narrow down what you would like to focus on in that period of time and what sort of direction you'd like to go. So list making, then reviewing and narrowing down and committing to those goals is very, very beneficial. I believe that freelancing is here to stay. I believe that it has quite a fruitful future as well. I mean, with all the technology that is ever changing and ever progressing, it is just making this kind of a career choice and lifestyle easier for almost anyone to do anywhere in the world. So I truly believe it is a sustainable and viable career choice and path for sure. And especially when it becomes more a part of our lives, there will be things in place to kind of train individuals on how to be their own boss better and more successfully, and what skills they need to learn to apply to their business, how they should be basically promoting or displaying their services online or in person or, just in the public eye to attract their prospect clients. So it's all a win-win and it's all kind of progressing in the favor of freelancing in the future. Yes, there are absolutely college and university programs out there already offering courses on freelancing. So it probably will just take a simple and quick Google search for you to find out what schools are offering them in your location or in your field that you'd like to pursue. A freelancer is someone who basically gets paid for their work. They can be someone who writes, designs, consults, advises, and they get paid either on an hourly basis or on a by project basis. They are their own boss as well, and it's basically the easiest way to start a new business. An entrepreneur is someone who uses money that comes from other sources or other people or investments to create a big business that kind of runs itself. And they might hire a lot of people to run it for them, and that business basically generates money while they're sleeping. So they are two different things. Absolutely. An entrepreneur also focuses on growth and scaling a business that they have created so that it becomes bigger than themselves. The term bidding for freelancers is like bidding on a project. Sometimes you might be up against several other freelancers and you kind of need to pitch a proposal as to how you're going to work on that project and how you're going to get the job done for that client to choose you. It may sometimes mean that you write down the number of hours or days or weeks that it would take you to get that job done, how much it might cost you. You might want to include a little bit about yourself, your previous work experience, and have or attach some visual components to your portfolio so that that client can get a feel, an idea of who you are and the work you've done, and see if they resonate with it and if they would like to work on you for getting their project done as well. Essentially, a freelance job is one where a person works for themselves rather than for a company. While a freelancer takes on contract work for companies and organizations, they are ultimately self-employed. If I could roll back the clock, one of the things that I would do differently is to figure out my pricing and charge accordingly from the get-go. I believe that was quite a learning curve for me because it was so new to me working as a freelancer and in web design that I did not know how to place myself and how to rank the cost of my services. So it was often an uncomfortable topic, and I would shy away from discussing it very confidently and openly and in a straightforward manner with my clients, which didn't always sit well with myself. The moment I got a little bit more comfortable in working as a web designer and figured out pricing that I knew was accurate and reflected my experience and was still attracting the clients and the projects that I wanted to work on, I felt so much better. I felt so at ease, and that is a wonderful and a lovely feeling that I definitely recommend people should aim for and strive for. That the moment you kind of figure out your pricing from the get-go, the happier you will be in the long run. And I still am grateful for those experiences because it taught me quite a bit, and maybe I wasn't ready to know exactly how to price myself, but I still feel that maybe better research at the time would have been good and would have saved me quite a bit of headache. Although there were other factors as well kind of playing into my decision making, which were related to whether I wanted to charge hourly or by project or have a retainer, and I really didn't know how I worked to be able to tell the client, this is what I think is best. So I think it goes hand in hand. Sometimes you kind of figure it out through trial and error, and while actually going through the motions and going along the way, it's not as clear up front, but the moment you do have it clarified and it really resonates with you and makes you feel good is when it's best. Some of my greatest successes as a freelancer was to clearly communicate and translate my clients' ideas into writing and into visually making the project at the end of the day that they were pleased with. That I absolutely pride myself on, and that moment when I delivered the project that exceeded their expectations is something that I would say is a great success. One of the failures in freelancing, I'd say, were the moments when I was traveling and I assumed there would be a great strong Wi-Fi connection and there wasn't. And so that would put me in a slight awkward position with my client where I had to explain to them that I might not be able to be in touch with them as easily, or submit a certain delivery as promptly as I had previously thought, due to the fact that the location that I was in didn't have the types of connections that I needed to get the job done. So the future of freelance work is basically the future. It's the future way. The simplest way to scale your freelance business is to start by increasing the rates for your services. You can also narrow down your niche, outsource your work to other freelancers, create a product, maybe get a new partner and create an agency, build a software. Yeah, those are solutions to scaling up, basically. Building a name for yourself in your specific niche definitely comes from consistency. You want to consistently put that message out there about what you do, what kind of work you focus on, what your services are, and what you offer. You might want to do that through marketing tools or ads or social media posts, but definitely establishing a voice in your niche and perhaps featuring some reviews and testimonials so that you generate that trust between you and your prospect clients.